So in the Eigen, I guess like the Eiger sanction might be an homage to this, but it's about a guy, Clint Eastwood, climbing a mountain, and that being something that he had to do to get past whatever. But this is also looking at this. So we'll take the Mona Lisa picture they've added. Understand it as this: if I keep my vectors straight, we'll call this V, this line V, the blue line V. Notice that the line V has not changed. By changing the perception of the red, of the love fallen love, all right, you've changed the perception of the entire image, the entire truth, the entire reality. Let's keep going with that. Noticing that you have that formation, that exact angle, all right, this exact angle, it's going to create a bone of contention with the truth, right? That bone of contention can be reflected back into the swan idea with being what's called the little fork in Latin, right here, right here. Speaking of also think of biblically as being the precursor to the Antichrist, which would be the false prophet. That would be something to think of there. Let's go back to one other thing. Hold on. Then to see that fallen system in action, basically you would just take this. You would add your where your red would have been, okay? That would have been there. Let's say, right? Then you add in your blue, which is the law, which is the fallen, which then I'll fix this in a minute. We'll rotate it 180. You'll see that this will represent the blue, or the fallen, or the law, which overtakes, right? And then if you want to put a real fine point on it, you just color it as it should be. And then it'll probably look very familiar to you once I do that. Alright. You've probably seen that before, right? Alright. Continuing on. So those that would call themselves Jews that are not, did not kill a bunch of babies, didn't put them on a sacrificial table, didn't do any of that nonsense. That's all just as much cow feed as what they're feeding you. But what they did do is they change your perception of reality. Let's keep going. Back to this. Understanding that idea of who that represents. That represents this guy. Okay, and this also represents, and I'm speaking of the swan, you're speaking of Yahweh, right? All you Yahweh fans, right? That's a Canaanite deity, by the way. Going back to, this would be the god of thunder, all right? Going back to all these, this goes back to the Elysian Fields ideas and all kinds of other stuff. You go back to the wind deities, and then you have all these ones that you've heard of, the snakes and all that, and then guess where it's all leading to? Let's keep going. The rain, names you know. Let's keep going. To this guy. A lot of people confuse this and they go back to this story. And then I'm going to prove to you, quite frankly, with this picture, that it's the same thing as Saturn, and that this is representing the fallen sun. Now, if you can get your mind out of the gutter and stop looking at this as just some grotesque image. Oh, he's eating the baby. Oh my goodness. Therefore they must have killed people. Blah. Stop. Let's put this into perspective. Look, do you see that? Do you see the same finger? The wishbone? Let's add some stuff. Okay, we'll do this just so you can see it. So we'll add first the red. right? And be facing downwards. All right. Oops. Hold on. Try that one more time. Then you have this guy going upwards. Do you see it's the same thing? Same exact thing. Goat leg. This is represented a lot as being sometimes sawn off, and there's always a goat in the background, which would tie into hold on, which would tie into what we were talking about there, which is the same thing. Okay, moving to L, which is the same thing, going all the way to Chronos, which is the timekeeper within time. Do you recall that within time? If you recall this, that would be Saturn deballing, taking the family jewels of your Uranus, going within the time loop. This would be the 13 signs now that there are with Ophiuchus inside the Jordan matrix within, and then the cube, that would be the Earth down in here. All right, this is all outside of time out here. This, then the escape, or the just to put like a story to it. This the robbery, then the escape into the jail, basically, right? From being out here into, it's quite it's ridiculous. All right, so hopefully that puts it a little bit closer to where you're at. Do not believe it. No one died, no one got hurt at Sandy hoax, Boston hoax, period.